take a nice seat in your chair wherever you are. Let your feet rest on the ground. Put your hands in your lap. And as we usually do at the beginning of most of my classes, let's just take a moment and close our eyes. Take a nice big long inhale and a nice long exhale. Let your awareness settle there onto your breath. Let your breath grow a little longer and a little deeper. And one of the things that I've been doing since we've been doing this isolation and quarantine and staying at home is just taking a moment at the beginning of our practice and realizing and knowing that our breath connects each and every one of us together, whether we are at home by ourselves or with our family or wherever we are, everyone is sharing the same air. As you're here and you're breathing, you can feel the earth underneath your feet. You can feel the sky above your head, and you can know that we're all here touching the same earth, beneath the same sky. And even if we're far apart, we're still all very, very connected. So take a couple more breaths and set your intention, and that just means what you would like to focus on this morning. And it can be anything from just getting a good stretch to being present, but whatever it is for you, hold it in the space of your heart, whatever you'd like to focus on. And take a couple more nice long breaths. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So let's start just like we are with our hands on our knees, and take a big inhale and look up towards the sky. And then exhale, round your back towards the back of your chair. So we're just getting this movement in our spine. Inhale, arch and look up, and exhale, round it back. So sometimes we do these on the ground when we're not doing chair yoga, and we call these, I call them cat stretches because I think cats do both ways, but sometimes we call it cat and cow. So this would be the cow with big belly, and this would be the cat rounding its back up. So back and forth just a few more times. And then the next time that you round your back, we're gonna make some circles. So lean it over to one side and then lean way forward and over to the other, keeping the hands on the knees and just moving around as much as you can. And then we'll reverse and go the other way. And then we'll come right back to the center. All right, let's take a big inhale, reach arms up to the sky. And exhale, just let them fall all the way back in. And just try that a few times. Inhale, arms reaching up. And exhale all the way down. And again, inhaling, arms reaching up. And exhale all the way down. We'll do this a couple more times. This is one of the greatest things we can do for our spine, especially as we're sitting most of the day. We want our spine to be long always, because no matter what, when we move our spine, we've got to have the space between the bones for the movement to happen. Movement doesn't happen in the bones, it happens in the space between. So whether we're folding forward or folding backwards or twisting, we've got to have the space. So I love making space at the beginning, and we'll make even more space by this time, taking our right arm down, reach our left arm up, stretch to the left side of our waist, and we'll go back and forth. Inhale to the center, and exhale over to the left. Back and forth a few more times. Just moving with your breath. Making that lengthen the side of your body. The more we can stretch the side of our body, the more we get that length in our spine. And then inhale, both arms up, and just let both arms come all the way back down. So talking about that space so we get some movement, let's have a twist. So big inhale, Make the length in your spine first. Keep the length and start to turn to the right. Your right hand's gonna go back behind you, left hand comes to your knee, and if you've got a nice solid back on your chair, you can grab it. If not, just put the hand on the seat of the chair behind you. Sit up nice and tall, look into the right. Take a couple breaths. Every time you inhale, feel your spine grow longer. As you exhale, let the shoulders drop away from your ears. And then we'll go the other way. So inhale, both arms all the way back up. And exhale over to the left. Sit up nice and tall. Every time you inhale, grow a little taller. As you exhale, soften the shoulders, finding your twist. You don't have to force the twist around, but just using the chair to help you a little bit. And then inhale all the way back to center. Arms can come up, and the arms can come all the way down. Beautiful. So I do want us to stand up a little bit today. So go ahead, stand on up. If your chair is a small chair and you can stand next to it, you can stand next to the chair. If not, that's totally okay. We're going to do a little bit of balance. And you can balance wherever you're at. If you don't have something to grab onto, you just try your balance. And if you fall over, that's okay. If you've got a wall or something, you can use it. I like, for when I usually teach chair yoga, I like everybody just to be right next to the chair. That way, if you need the chair for balance, you can use it. But if not, you know, it doesn't really matter. So standing, if you are with me next to a chair, standing on the right side of your chair, we're going to stand on our left foot first and try a pose called tree pose. So for tree pose, I like to give different variations. And if you need the chair, you've got the chair right there. We can take our foot right to our ankle. So we've got a little kickstand. So this is like our first variation balance. Second variation, our foot can come up to our calf. Third variation, you can grab your foot and put it on your thigh, but we're not going to put our foot on our knee. Hands can find your heart unless you need the chair, then one hand's on the chair. And then the arms might go out and all the way up. Shoulders can relax away from your ears rather than scrunching up high. Let your shoulders be broad, reaching up through the crown of your head. If you feel like playing around, you can wiggle your leaves at the top. And then we'll go ahead and lower that down. Give both legs a little wiggle. And then we'll try the other side. So standing on the other side of your chair, if you've got your chair, if not, that's totally okay. We're going to stand on our right foot, lift up our left. You can decide, ankle, calf, or thigh, wherever your foot wants to go. Hands at your heart. Or if you've got the chair, you've got the chair. Arms out and up when you're ready. Shoulders soften down, heart lifts up. Finding a couple breaths. Maybe we wiggle the fingers. And we'll go ahead and lower down. So normally I teach chair yoga actually at this time at a senior center. And one of the things we work on the most is our balance, because yoga is great to do on your yoga mat, but it's even more important off your yoga mat in your daily life. And balance is a really, really important thing for us, especially as we get older. We want to make sure our balance is there so that when we reach for something, we don't fall over, or when we take a funny step, we can get our balance back. So really, really important. So if your chair is movable, you can move it. I'm going to turn it sideways. You guys don't have to be sideways. You can be however you want to be, but just let the chair be right there in front of you. Again, just like with the balance, the chair is here in case you need it. So I'm going to give a bunch of variations. I love giving variations because I like teaching to people who are at different levels in their practice. So we're going to do a forward fold, but first we'll try it with the chair. If you don't need the chair, then you're going to back up from the chair. So knees are right in front of the chair, maybe back about 6 inches or so. Take a big inhale, reach the arms to the sky, and then exhale, fold forward. The hands can come to the chair, or the forearms can come to the chair, and you might walk your feet back if you notice you're too close. If that's still working, then you can walk your hands down the rungs of your chair if you like. If that's all still working, then the chair doesn't need to be there, and you can just fold forward. And let's hang here for a few breaths. So as you're hanging here in your forward fold, and if your hands don't touch the floor, that's totally okay. But as you're hanging here, just maybe give your head a little shake no, and nod your head yes. Don't whack it on your chair, of course. Let the legs be strong, so you're not just hanging out. The muscles are squeezing almost as if your legs were drinking straws and your thighs are trying to drink some juice up from the earth through your legs all the way into your core, letting the head reach down towards the ground, but maybe lifting the shoulders away from the ears. Take a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll look forward. If you've got the chair, you can walk your hands back up the chair. If not, we'll take the hands to the hips and just rise all the way up. All right, let's try our tree poses again. So wherever you need to be to have some help with your balance, if you need it, be there. Standing on the left foot, lifting up the right foot, ankle, calf, or thigh. You can decide. Just don't put your foot on your knee. We don't want to put pressure sideways on our knee. Hands might be at our heart. If you need the chair, use the chair, the wall, arms out and all the way up when you're ready. So again, I like to give variations. So if you're working on your tree pose, stay right there. If this feels like you would like a fun, different challenge, you can bring your right hand down to your knee and reach up a little higher through your left side and get a stretch. Take a couple breaths. And then maybe both arms back up if they're not there, and we'll lower that down. Give both legs a wiggle. Try the other side. Move into wherever you need to be. If you need the chair or the wall, stand on the right foot, lifted up left, ankle, calf, or thigh. You can decide. Hands at your heart. Feel like everything squeezes in. So front to back. My foot's going to slip side to side. And maybe the arms go out and all the way up. You can decide. Shoulders away from the ears, heart lifts up. Again, you can stay here. If you want to add on, that left hand might come down. Right arm might reach up. And the arms can come all the way back up and lower the leg all the way down. Give both legs a little wiggle. All right, let's fold forward again. This time, let's take our legs a little wider than our chair. And inhale, arms to the sky. And same thing, your choice, hands to the chair or forearms to the chair, or walk your hands down. Or if you don't need the chair, you can move it away. Be here for a few breaths. Same thing, nice strong legs. Feel like you can actively reach your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Letting the head hang down. Take a couple breaths. And then without bending your knees, just walk both hands over towards your right foot. And then walk both hands over towards your left foot. And then back to the center. Same thing, if you've got your chair, you can walk your hands up the chair. If not, hands to your hips. And we'll rise up. Wiggle the legs together, give everything a little shake. All right, let's come back for our tree poses one more time. So standing on that left foot, lifting up the right foot. If you need the chair, it's there, or the wall, or whatever you've got. Hands at your heart. Arms can go out and all the way up. Shoulders soften, heart lifts up. So we're working on our balance so that we can do other things in our life. And that doesn't mean that we always look forward, though that does help, looking at something in front of you that's not moving. But if you want a little challenge, you might look up. You might look side to side. You might look down at the ground. And then back up to the center. And we'll lower that down, give both legs a little wiggle. And we'll try the other side. So move it however you need to so that you can balance. Standing on your right foot, lifting up your left foot. Hands at your heart. Arms out and up when you're ready. Use your chair or your wall if you need it. And again, you might change where you're looking side to side. I'm going to fall over, looking up and down. And then go ahead and lower that down. Give both legs a wiggle. So balance is always interesting. If you're working on your balance, you'll notice it varies from day to day. And it also varies from each side of your body. That's just because we're all mammals, our brains are sided, and the sides of our bodies act differently. You know, we write with usually one dominant hand. So it makes sense that things are a little different on each side. So don't get frustrated if the two sides are different. Don't get frustrated from day to day. But balance is something great you can work on at any time. If you want to stand in tree pose while you brush your teeth or do the dishes, that's always fun. So I want us to fold forward one more time, or I guess 2 more times. So we're going to come back to the front of your chair or whatever object you've got if you need the assistance. And this time we're going to cross our right ankle over our left. And with our legs crossed, let's fold forward. Inhaling arms to the sky, exhaling hands to our chair or forearms, or walk it all the way down. So when I say or maybe, or a variation, you stop at the variation that makes the most sense for you. Don't feel like you have to keep going. Be at your edge. That's one of the beautiful things about yoga, is that it's your practice, and whatever makes sense for you on any given day is just where you need to be. And nobody can tell what feels right but you. So listen to yourself, which I think is a great thing to be doing at this time in our world, is to get a little more in touch with ourselves, see what's really important, what really matters, and see how we feel on any given day. And that's in our physical body, but also in our mental and spiritual as well. Take one more breath. And then looking forward, you can either use the chair or hands to your hips, and we'll rise up, and then we'll cross the legs the other way. So crossing the left over the right, just like before. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, lower down. If you need the chair, hands to the chair, forearms to the chair, or walk the hands all the way down. Be here and breathe. So forward folds, I always think about going inward and getting in touch with ourselves and seeing how we're feeling, because so often our attention is on the outside world, and we can take the time to bring our attention inward. That can be such a beautiful practice for us. And this is an interesting time to turn inward. There's still distraction from the outside world. I mean, you're watching me do yoga on the internet right now, so you can have lots of distractions with the internet. But you can also take the time and turn everything off right now and go inside and just take a few minutes, even if it's just a couple minutes each day, to be in touch with yourself. It's a beautiful opportunity that we have to have the time right now, even though the opportunity is coming from something crazy. Take one more inhale. And I'm looking forward. If you need the chair, you got it. If not, hands to the hips, and we'll rise up. Give everything a wiggle. All right, let's sit back down in our chair, however that looks. And as we sit down in our chair, I encourage you to sit forward on your chair, so I'm not like way back using the back of the chair, but sit forward so that your feet can be nice and flat. So anybody who's been in my chair yoga class before, and I think maybe I've got a couple people on the Zoom call, I can't quite see who it is right now, but anybody who's been in my chair yoga class before knows we do this pose pretty much every class. So we're gonna stretch our hip. So left foot stays where it is, right ankle is gonna cross over the left knee. If that doesn't work for you, you can straighten the bottom leg so that your foot can be lower down on your leg. But if it does work, the foot's gonna cross right over. As it does, I want you to flex and activate the crossed leg foot so it's not just like hanging out. You're drawing the toes back, the muscles of your foot should be activated. We do that to keep our knees stable. Since our knee is going sideways, it's not meant to move sideways, and we want to stabilize everything. So if we activate our foot, our knee stays stable. Sit up nice and tall. So for some of us, you might already be feeling a big stretch in your hip. That's okay, that's the goal right now. If you're not feeling much stretch, or you want to feel more stretch, then sitting nice and tall, leading with your heart, so not dropping the head down, but leading with your heart. We're just leaning forward. If you still want more stretch, then you can give a very gentle pressure on your thigh with your right forearm. So the more the knee goes out to the side, the more stretch you're going to get, and the more you lean forward, the more stretch you're going to get. And just hold this for a few breaths. I tell a lot of my students, this is the #1 stretch I recommend for people that are sitting in a chair all day, and it's beautiful because you can do it in a chair. If you're used to doing mat yoga with me or with anybody else, this is just the chair version of pigeon pose. And it's a beautiful pose. You can do it as pigeon, which is an upright sort of pose on the ground. You can also flip over on your back and do this one on the ground. So you're laying on your back, crossing your knee over, and then drawing the legs towards the chest. So this is one of my favorite poses for everyone to do. So take a couple more breaths. We usually hold this one for a little while. And then go ahead, sit up tall. We'll uncross that leg, give both legs a little wiggle, and we'll try the other side. So crossing the left ankle over the right. Again, flex the foot, letting the knee go out to the side, sit up nice and tall. If you're like me, just like with balance, you'll notice that your two sides might be different. So my right hip, so usually this is my right, even though I'm telling you to your left. Don't get too smart on the on the videos. My right hip is usually tighter than my left, just because. So sit up nice and tall, and maybe lean forward if you're wanting that stretch. Maybe using your elbow to invite that knee out to the left. And here for a few breaths. Again, just connect with your breath. I talk about this a lot in my yoga classes, but the poses that we do, just like we're doing right now with our chair yoga, these poses are the third limb of yoga. There's 8 limbs to yoga, so that means this is only an eighth of the practice. When I first learned that, I thought, what in the world were we supposed to be doing with the first 2 things? But the fourth limb is breath work. And so making sure that you're matching your breath up with your poses is really important. There's other breath exercises that you can do. But even just taking a nice big long breath every day, or 3 or 5 or 10, can be such a great practice during these crazy times. And as I said at the beginning of class, if you also take the time and know that everyone on the planet is breathing and all the air on the planet is connected, and we really are so very connected even when we're far apart, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So take a couple more breaths. And then we'll go ahead, unwind that, give both legs a little wiggle. Let's sit up nice and tall. So if you've got a chair behind you, you can take your hands back and just grab the chair. If you're on a couch or something else, that might not work. So I'm gonna go sideways so you guys can see, but you guys don't have to move. We're just gonna open up the front of our chest and our shoulders. So option 1 is to grab the chair. Option 2 is just to take your hands to your opposite elbows and sit up nice and tall. Option 3 is hands clasped together right there at your sacrum. Option 4 is the elbows go back. Option 5 is the arms straighten. Option 6 is they come away. Option 7 is we lean forward and let them come up over the back of the chair. And if you want to, you can even use the chair to help you stretch. So take a couple breaths, sit up nice and tall. And then we'll go ahead and let that go. All right, we'll turn back forward. And we'll stretch our arms the opposite way of what we just did. So both arms forward, right arm over the left, crossing at the elbows. Maybe you just give yourself a big hug. If that feels like a big stretch across the backs of your shoulder blades, you can stay there. If you want more stretch, you can take your hands and see if they want to wrap around each other. And then whether you're hugging or wrapping, lift the elbows and drop the shoulders down and get that big stretch across the backs of your shoulders. And then if it feels good too, you can even drop your chin into your chest and take a couple breaths. And then we'll unwind that. Give both arms a little shake, and we'll try the other side. Both arms forward, left over the right, crossing at the elbows, maybe hugging the shoulders, maybe wrapping the hands around, lifting the elbows, dropping the shoulders. This is half of a pose called eagle pose. If you want to drop your chin to your chest, you can. And then we'll go ahead and unwind that and let that go. All right. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this little chair yoga class. We're going to have another little moment here together, a really, really short meditation moment. But before we do that, take our feet a little wide, give ourselves a few hugs, take a big inhale, reach the arms out to the side, and then exhale, just take your arms across your chest and around your back, give yourself a big hug. Try again, inhale, arms reaching out, opposite arm goes on top this time, give yourself a big hug. Just try that a few more times, getting as big as you can, and then a nice big hug, and reaching out, and another one. We'll do two more. Inhale, reaching out, get really big. Exhale, hug it in. Last one, inhaling up. And exhale, hug it in. And then the arms can come down. Hands can rest on your knees. Feet can be back to hip distance apart. Let's just take a moment and close our eyes. Just like we did at the beginning of our practice. Take a nice long inhale. And a nice long exhale. And just let your awareness settle there onto your breath. Following your inhale, flowing in. Following your exhale, flowing out. And just like we did at the beginning, feel the ground underneath your feet. Feel the sky above your head. Feel your connection to both. And again, as you're breathing, just know that we are all connected, even when we're far apart. And let's bring our hands to touch at our heart. If you set an intention at the beginning of our practice, whatever it was, take your mind back to it for a moment without any judgment, of course. Check in with yourself. See how it went. And then most importantly, take a moment and honor the light that exists within you and thank yourself for coming to yoga this morning. I thank you all for being here with me as well. And I honor the light within you and within all beings. Namaste.